Aloha again, my name is David and we are going in our seventh direction. That means we're going straight into ourselves. That's the one direction we don't have out in three-dimensional space, and so that's the one we're interested in. Now the last time I talked about how proof is only proof to you, and that's really all that matters, but I want to make absolutely sure that we don't have any confusion on that issue, because I'm not saying that truth is subjective. As I was mentioning in an earlier episode, this is a very simple equation. Ultimately, we have one question we're trying to answer, and it's a very simple question. Does anything happen to you when you die? Period. That's the question. Do you continue or do you not continue? That's it. That's all we're trying to do, is figure out the answer to that question. Well, why? We're doing it more than just for emotional satisfaction. I mentioned, if you do move to a place where you see yourself in this context, that you are a soul who is engaged in this process of living here in three-dimensional space, that you have done this before, that you may very well do it again, that you do not disappear when you die. These are comforting ideas. They help you sleep better at night. But there's more than that to it. There's much more than that to it. Think about reading a book. Think about taking a page out of the middle of that book and just ripping a page right out of the middle of it and then sitting there and reading it. Do all the words make sense? Yes. Do the characters say things that make sense? Yes. Is that the only context to see those words from? No. The context of the page is within the context of this larger experience, which is many pages that make up a book. So what is happening on that page, although it may look like it makes sense at that particular instant when taken completely out of context, when you put it back into context, all of the meaning of the words might completely change. The meaning of the situation might completely change. Everything that actually is happening at that moment that you might have misunderstood has changed. There is a tremendous difference in the way you process information, whether you are under the impression that that page is all there is, or whether that page is one of 500 pages in that book. The same is true for the life you live. This is not a wasted exercise in some sort of spiritual frou-frou or emotionalism. The purpose of understanding what you are is so you make better decisions based in the context of whatever it is that you are thinks is a good decision. If you are a soul, if you are an extension of consciousness in some way, if there is anything else that is involved in this life process other than your physical thinking brain and your body, then you want to find out what it is. The way that you process information, the way that you understand what happens to you, would completely change based on the context in which you live. Well, that context is not a function of your belief system. There is a truth to the universe, period. Either you continue after you die or you don't. The sooner that you can connect to whichever truth that is, the better off you're going to be, period. Because the context in which you would make your life choices would change. This relates back to something I mentioned last episode. What do you take with you? If you are a soul, so here we go, we're playing the what if game. We're just following the line of thinking. for our 15 minutes a day, we're saying, what if we're a soul? Or what if we are a soul? If we are a soul and we continue on in enough recognition of self that we know that we are ourselves, in other words, what we consider to be ourselves, what I consider to be David at this time, more or less continues, and I'm aware that I'm David or was David and that I am having these experiences, I am consciously continuing. If I am consciously continuing, what is continuing? What are the things that you take with you? Well, the sooner that you can put yourself in some perspective that allows you to see that, yes, you really are a soul that does continue beyond the physical lifetime, and therefore the way that you evaluate what you should be doing with that lifetime might change a great deal. So I just wanted to clarify. What you are doing is fantastically important, not just because, as I talked about last time, Einstein called it spooky and it's the truth of the universe, and you're going to have to expand your imagination and open your horizons and be willing to accept things that you previously did not accept, at least not very comfortably. You're going to have to move into that comfortable space, but more than that, you are genuinely reevaluating what it means to be a human being. Should you actually go in and discover that you are an immortal consciousness that has lived previous lifetimes, will live future lifetimes, is immensely old, possibly eternal, then what is the purpose of your life? What is the purpose of this place? And isn't it possible that seeing from that different point of view might dramatically change the choices that you make living your life now? Remember, from the very beginning, all we have done is focus on the idea. This is not making you feel better. This is not about some spiritual idea you can go beat somebody else over the head with. This is about understanding what you are. Now, it may turn out to be that you discover that what's true for you is true for everyone. It would have to be. But that's not important to you now. What matters to you at this time is only discovering the truth of you. There is one. Now, whether it's that you disappear or whether it's that you continue, there is a truth. That is what you want to always remind yourself, that whatever influences you're feeling from life, whatever difficulties you might be having, proving things to yourself, as I talked about last time, what actually matters is that you understand there is a truth. You can find it. It's some sort of common wisdom that you can't see truth, you can't understand the mind of God, you can't understand what you are. Well, maybe not. That depends what you are, that depends what God is, that depends what the universe is, that depends on a whole bunch of things. But you don't ever want to use your own imagination to limit the imagination of the universe. Be open, new thoughts, new ideas, and remember, everything is not subjective. What you need as proof of truth is up to you. What you take as proof is individually up to you, but the context of your life is real, whatever that means. You do exist, and there is a truth to that existence that either continues beyond your physical death or it doesn't. An accurate understanding of which one of those is actually the truth would absolutely be relevant to your life. So keep on going in your seventh direction. Poke around in there. When you have some questions, send them to me. If the stuff isn't making sense to you as I speak it on the video, it's actually pretty well organized. It's pretty good in the book, In Heart of a Child. You can find it on Amazon. My name, David Gaines, Gaynes. You can find it on Amazon, Heart of a Child, written down. Keep tuning in and keep going into yourself. Keep going in your seventh direction. We'll talk some more. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's a nice life, really. What you're going to discover is probably better than you can imagine. Keep going. It's worth it. We'll talk again. Aloha.